Namaskar, dear seeker, and welcome to all to our live stream tonight. So today's topic is can yoga help us to grow spiritually? So I hope everyone is doing fine because today is a World Yoga Day. So before we start our session, first I would like to introduce myself. My name is Syriac, and I come from France. I'm doing spiritual practice now for more than 20 years. I live in India for more than 10 years in an ashram where I did spiritual practice. And now for the past almost 2 years, I'm traveling around Europe. In a caravan, we are actually holding the live stream from the caravan in a small city not far from Hanover. So, dear seekers, about SSRF. SSRF is an acronym of the Spiritual Science Research Foundation, and it was founded in 2006 with the blessing of His Holiness Dr. Attaveli, that is a saint from India. And SSRF has two main objectives. One objective is to explain about the spiritual dimension and how it can affect us positively or negatively. And in conjunction also with the Maharishi University of Spirituality, with the founder. The founder is His Holiness Dr. Attaveli also. And we do a lot of research using biofeedback device, and we are able to see quite astonishing result of whatever we do, either some spiritual practice or different habits that we have in the Western world, or different things that we do in the world. Sometimes how it can have an impact on our aura, and we can see either our aura increase positively or our aura reduce, and of course it affects our state of mind. So we present all this research on the website, along with also steps of spiritual practice. And the second platform of SSRF is we have more than 55 online meeting every week in English as well as other languages in different time zone. And those online meetings are free of charge. They are there to actually help and guide the seeker in their spiritual journey all the way to God realization. So if some of you are interested to join such we call it satsang actually. It is actually a spiritual meeting. You can meet seekers. You can meet our seeker who are practicing spirituality for many years, and you of course can share your experience and get learning from it also. So what we do before we start our live stream tonight, we will actually meditate for 2 minutes just to achieve a stable state of mind, and then of course we will start after with our topic. So what we'll ask you to do is to close your eyes, and just you can either meditate, you can either chant repeating a mantra in your mind, or you can focus on your own breath. We will do that 2 minutes, and then we will start with a live stream.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 ॐ नमो भगवते
So what you can do now, you
वासुदेवाय।
can open your eyes. So if some of you are just joining us in the live stream tonight, so welcome to all. So today's topic is about, can yoga help us to grow spiritually? So here I will be sharing some point for around 15 minutes or so, and the remaining time you can actually ask questions. You can share some experience if you have in regards to yoga. So I will ask you also during this topic or this live stream. We can interact, and of course we have two seekers. We are moderators. We are on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and can collect your comments, your questions, so we can go through them live with you. So don't hesitate if you would like to share something or if you have any questions. So actually we are holding today this topic actually because it is the occasion now of the International Yoga Day. And as we know, yoga or yoga asanas has become quite popular. So I don't know if some of you may be practicing yoga or pranayam. Pranayam is actually some breathing technique. And if you may have experience also some health benefit, or you felt some type of relaxations also. We will also be sharing with you some research findings that we had about how much yoga and pranayam can actually purify our bodies. We don't have only the physical body, but we have also subtle bodies that I will explain also a little bit more after. And also what exactly happen, whether it is helping us to grow and how much actually we are growing spiritually, and what is spiritual progress. And of course after we can go over your experience, if you had about yoga, if you have some experience any spiritual progress or obstacles, and of course that is something we can share with all of you. Just in short, for some of you, you must be knowing about yoga, but the term yoga is actually coming from an ancient language called Sanskrit, and we call it yuya, which actually means to unite, and that is actually progressing spiritually and to experience the divine, or the divine within oneself, or the divine that is around us. So first I would like also to share in short about what is spiritual progress. So actually spiritual progress means when we actually experience or that we start changing such as negative trait. So in a way, if we have anger, we have fear, insecurity, or we may have ego also or pride, whether they have reduced, whether our anger become less, whether our pride become less. And our life situation may change or may not change, but whether we are actually able to remain calm, whether we are experiencing a more calm state of mind, and whether our bad habits change, we are able to overcome, or our lifestyle are also becoming different, more pure. So just wanted to ask if some of you may have experienced something like that actually by practicing, as you say, whether yoga or pranaya, or maybe some other type of spiritual practice. Of course, today we are talking about yoga and pranayam, whether you have experienced something like that, some changes within oneself in regards to what I share now. I would like to show you a very interesting table. And this table is about, actually, I don't know if you are able to see now the table, all of you. So of course I will explain a little bit in more detail. And of course here is to see how through yoga or pranayam, how much it is actually helping us to progress spiritually, actually how our body gets purified. Just wanted to explain about the body. So we know we have the physical body, but we also have what we call subtle bodies. And some of them is what we call the vital energy body, that is the mind also, the intellect and the ego, and the soul. And the soul is actually the divine principle that is within us. And just as we said, see, with the gross body, but the mind, intellect are actually subtle bodies that is around us. And in a way, when we say purified, the soul doesn't have to be purified because the soul is 100% God. But our mind, our intellect are actually not pure enough. There are some of them can be in a way dirty also. So in this table, we will show you some what we call level of purifications that can happen through yoga, what we call also yoga asanas or pranayam. Pranayam means breathing technique. Yoga asanas actually mean a posture. So as you can see on the left side, you have the different bodies. But we have the physical body, vital body. Vital body is the energy that we need to function, and it is a subtle body, but of course it is. And you have mental, intellect, and of course the supercausal body. That is the subtlest. And as you can see, the maximum purifications that can happen. Why only 20% for the physical body? Because as the body is gross, it is a maximum purification that can happen through any type of practice. And what we observed, as per the research, as you can see that through yoga, or we can say pranayam, it helps actually to purify the physical body and to some good extent also the vital body in regards to pranayam. But you can, and we can actually see that actually the yoga asanas or pranayam is very limited to purify our mind, our intellect, and our ego. So actually we can hardly experience any changes in our thinking, in our behaviors, or in our life decision also, in a way, with just yoga and pranayam. I don't know if some of you may have experienced something like that you are maybe doing yoga or pranayam, but you can see that actually by body you may feel better, you may have more energy. But whether actually your mind, let's say our mind may be our anger or emotionalism or inferiority, insecurity will not change, or whether our intellect will help us to make better decisions, or whether the intellect will be able to overcome the bad habits that we have. So whether you may have experienced something like that, because ultimately what we are trying to say is when intellect becomes more purified, it has that ability to control the mind or to overpower the mind, because now in today's time the mind is actually overpowering the intellect. So if you have, of course, any questions about what actually I've shown you in this table or what I just shared, don't hesitate to ask questions now. If something unclear, of course, I can repeat after. Huh? Just to come back now, to come back to you. So in fact, actually, nowadays, as we have seen how much actually yoga asanas or pranayam can help us to grow, there is limitations, because in reality the main obstacle in one's person progress is our mind, our intellect, and our ego. And as here we can see that actually they get purified only to 1% and few. And in today's time, what I would like to highlight today is more that nowadays yoga actually is more like a type of aerobic type of exercise. It has become like a sport industry, and many who does yoga may not actually experience lasting change, or in a way even they may not seek spiritual progress, but they do it because it gives good health, it gives some exercise. It is also a good start to enter in a way in the field of spirituality, to understand that there is not only but there is something else, but just not to remain at the level of just yoga or yoga asanas. And otherwise what happens now, yoga will just remain like a hobby. It will not help us to make real progress. And actually, she just wanted to also share that, as compared, you may say, there is some renowned yogi like Mahesh Yogi, Swami Shivananda, but actually they were spiritually evolved as a saint, and due to their intense spiritual practice, they also happen to practice yoga asanas, but they did not reach that state by just yoga asanas. Already they had a higher spiritual level, and also was practicing different type of spiritual practice. And just also sometimes some people say that to be a yoga teacher is to be like a yogi, and it's not so, because a yogi is somebody who is at a very high spiritual level. So dear seekers, if you have any questions that you may have now about what I share about yoga and pranayam, see, here what we are trying to say, we are not trying to say that yoga is bad or yoga pranayam is bad. It's just to understand the limitations. Or in today's time, in the Western world, mainly, who is teaching yoga? Is the person spiritually evolved and trying to bring the person actually from the yoga of body to yoga of mind? I think purifying the mind, doing some other type of spiritual practice. In today's time, there are, as I said, many people who join, become yoga teachers, and then teach yoga, but actually they are not actually ready to be at what we call be a real yoga teacher. That is somebody who can help you to progress spiritually. It's just teaching you how to do some specific postures. So dear seeker, if you have any questions now, or anything you would like to share and add also, or in regards to if you have experience that through yoga you experience some obstacles, or if you have some questions about how to make spiritual progress, we can go through each of you questions, and of course we can suggest also what can be the steps that can help us to grow and make fast spiritual progress. There are some comments. I will first take some comments that you have shared, and of course after I will go back to some of the questions. So don't hesitate to ask questions in regards to yoga, pranayam, or anything that I've shared also. From Lancaster Fashion, you said yoga grow more ego and attachment to my body. I got bored after a while. Actually, Lancaster, see again what happened now. Why you experience like that is because that's what I try to share, that in today's time, those who are yoga teachers, they are not practicing spirituality. They are just working to make money. So they may not be humble. So, and this is more like a feeling, I'm spiritual. So instead of helping to reduce ego, the person develop more ego. Actually, I encountered one person who is actually practicing spirituality, and he also used to follow a path on only yoga, and he felt like actually they were just more ego. Everybody was proud and like they are yoga teachers. So, but actually it is not helping, because ultimately we want to reduce ego now. We want to feel this oneness with God. From Marco, you said, I was practicing pranayam and a little of yoga, but after some time I realized that distress increased. I could not help me there, so I'd stop. But chanting spiritual measure helped me fast. Actually, see, Marco, see, pranayam we can see, no? Pranayam helps to some extent more than yoga asanas, but as you say correctly, there are limitations. It will not address of how to deal with overcoming distress. From Tom Rock, you said chanting is powerful, even the 2 minutes notice a change in positivity. Okay. From Shruti, actually, you have a questions. You said, I got confused what to do. If I have 30 minutes after routine, then increasing sadhana effort is also important, and taking care of body and health is also important. What to decide? See, Shruti, here we are not saying that you may not need to do some yoga postures or pranayam, because actually if the person have backache and they have difficulty to run, let's say, but at home you can do those yoga posture and it helps you to stretch the body. That's good enough. That's good to do. Or pranayam for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That will also help, no, for the vital energy. But just to understand the limitations. But ultimately after that, if we want to grow spiritually, then we should actually try to see how to overcome the negative trait in our mind, like anger, emotionalism. So yoga at that level is okay. So we are not saying, see, we have many seekers. They are also in morning, they are doing some yoga, 10, 15 minutes, 15, half an hour, because it helps them, no? Some of them are sitting because they are working or sitting on chair. So they need to do some stretching. Or some they have back pain or some so yoga is helping them, but it doesn't become a practice. It helps to help the health, but actually purifying the mind is more important. I hope, Shruti, it is clarifying your these questions you have. See, what we are trying to say now, we want to show in this live stream and through this research that people feel like I'm doing yoga, so I'm spiritual or I'm growing spiritually. But actually, it is not so. It helps, but it has a lot of limitations if we want actually to grow further in our spiritual journey. From Suni, there is another comment from Suni. When I wake up, I practice breathing exercise and pranayam, inhale, exhale, chant Om, and you feel lightness in body, you feel relaxed for something, but this state doesn't remain for long. That's correct, Sunit. That's good. That actually you, after that, of course, in morning, this pranayam help, and then you feel more fresh. But as you say correctly, it will remain for some time. Why? Because it is related to the body, no? So that's why we recommend you can do pranayam in morning, but if you chant, see, chanting God's name, no, during the day, all day, then we will be experiencing more calmness during the day. So that is something that can be done. Usually yoga asanas or pranayam, it is a good practice to start the day with. And chanting God's name during the day, because it can be done anywhere, anytime. See, if you look, yoga asanas is for what? Actually, it is for the body, to stretch the body. Pranayam is for what mainly? It is for the vital energy. Chanting is for what? For the mind. To make our mind more calm, to make us in a stable state of mind. So from Mugna Potnis, you said, can chants like Shri Gurudev Datta or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva be synchronized with pranayam? It depends, Mugna Potnis, because sometimes in regards to pranayama, the breathing can be quite fast. So you can do it. You can do it slowly along with, of course, the chant, if it is possible, because sometimes it can be slow. Inhale, exhale. So if you can do with chanting, why not? That is always best. Sometimes there are some technique of pranayam where the breathing is very fast for some time. Other time, but we can chant in mind. Ultimately, we should try to chant in mind all the time. From Tom Rock, you said, how does gardening compared to yoga? Both are good form of exercise with movement of the body. See here, Tom Rock, you are actually comparing two things. See, in regards to, we can say pranayam, no? Or yoga is with pranayam. So pranayam is something related to the, how to say, vital energy. So this, see, any exercise we do, whether it is yoga asanas or sports, if it is not combined with chanting, it becomes body exercise only. So whether any type of activity where body exercise is involved, it will just help at muscular level or at physical level. If the person does yoga asanas along with chanting or breathing exercise, then it will have more effect to purify the body or the vital energy. See, Alexander, you said what happened in the subtle when one practice yoga postures. See, again, same thing as I shared before. How much we see now in the table, how much the body get purified. Actually, in the table we have said that the physical body, but yoga asanas get purified by 20%. Actually, and it takes, so in a way, slowly some energy is there, no? But again, what happens is subtle. More important is we want to purify our mind, our intellect, because the main obstacles in someone progress is a mind and intellect. Why we are born again and again? Because our mind and intellect is heavy, our attachment, so that we get the bondage is there, no? Because of attachment, because of mind. So if you want to be liberated, or if you want to grow to higher positive plane of existence, or to experience God in this birth, we have to purify our mind, our intellect. Yogamaya Dasi, you said, I know a 300 years old man who looked like 30 years old and he achieved longevity by pranayam. I don't know if he 300 years old, because they says oldest man on earth is 130 or 40. So I don't know if it was from some story or some older books that you have read. By pranayam, maybe he was a saint and did other spiritual practice, not sure. That Yogamaya Dasi, I don't know about it. As I shared, in today's time, we know the longest person living is 130 or so, but not 300 years old. I will take some other questions that are not related, but I will just, if some of you have other questions in regards to yogasanas, of course, spiritual progress also, or how to make spiritual progress, what spiritual progress is, any obstacle, if you are practicing spirituality, or any obstacle you have to implement some steps to go to the next stage. Because ultimately, see, in spirituality, what happened? It's like school only. We are in first grade and we have to go to second grade, third grade. We cannot keep doing the same spiritual practice all the time. We have to try to go to the next stage. So sometimes how to understand whether I can go to the next stage. So here is to understand if sometimes we practice and we feel okay, we are able to manage it. And we should try to go to the next stage. Or we start to feel bored in the practice we do, then we should try to go to the next stage and to know what is my next stage. Ultimately, we should ask someone, what is my next step in spiritual practice? Remaining in same stage all life, it's like remaining in first grade or second grade all life, because ultimately we have to keep growing all the time to go to the next stage of spiritual practice or spirituality. From Sevati Devi, you said, I suffer from insomnia and you stay awake many nights. Which chant is best suited? Beneficial to chant from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. So Sewati, actually we had live stream. We'll pass for you on the chat a live stream on sleep disorders and also insomnia. So we have recommended you can play, and we will also, you can download on the website. There is a divine chant of Shri Gurudev Datta and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can play them in low tone in the night, because the sound helps to purify the room, like where you stay. And you can try also to repeat the divine name of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, because ultimately sometimes insomnia or sleep disorders, what we have found that often negative energy affect the person. It is one way, because at night we are more vulnerable, as well they are more powerful. So that's why at that time chanting God's name helps. But it doesn't happen overnight, Sewati Devi, because if, let's say, you suffer from insomnia for many years, it takes some time to overcome. And we have different case studies of seekers that was able to overcome insomnia or sleep disorders. So if you would like to see, there are also self-healing method also that you can do to protect you during sleep, like using empty boxes around your bed, or playing, of course, a divine chant. And something that we should not do before the night, that actually increase the negativity within us, and of course increase the chance for negativity to affect us, like causing insomnia, nightmares, or different type of sleep disorders also. So there is another question with a bit difficult name to say. It is Ankerwich Porquaya. I'm curious to know from which country you are. If you like to share in the chat, in case, no problem, it's just by curiosity. So your question is, for physical ailment, which is better, chanting or doing yoga along with medicine? See, again, as I shared before, if the person has some time physical ailments, such as if it is more articulation, back pain, sometimes yoga asanas may help, because it helps at the physical body, no? So here, yoga asanas can help. After that, of course, it depends on the physical ailment, and for that we recommend always to see a doctor and what they recommend, because sometimes doctor will recommend exercise, sometimes doctor will prescribe medicine as well, so that it is something important. And just remember, whether you do any type of exercise, we can always club chanting. That means chanting can be done all the time. So when you do any physical exercise or yoga asanas along with chanting, then you get double benefit, no? So that is the good thing. Otherwise, what happens? The person does exercise and think about some negative thoughts. So of course, physical will have effect, but it will reduce the effect. But if the person is actually doing some yoga exercise and think about God's name, then they get more positive energy. From Child of God, you have a question. You say, does pranayam or hatha yoga help for kundalini awakening? See, pranayam has help to some extent, and hatha yoga, again, hatha yoga, it's a very advanced spiritual practice, real hatha yoga, not hatha yoga, simple hatha yoga. Because again, we had also a lecture about kundalini, and there are two ways. Ultimately, we recommend that, see, when we practice spirituality, kundalini get awakened automatically. Most of the time, the kundalini or the chakra are closed and the kundalini is dormant within us. So of course, there is what we call the Shakti path. It is a path of hatha yoga, of awakening or pushing the kundalini. But we have shared there are some maybe things that can happen, And we don't recommend, because in today's time, to find a correct Hatha Yogi teachers who actually is expert in Shakti path is rare. And the second is the person should be of higher spiritual level, because if, let's say, the person is not ready spiritually and the energy flow start rising, the person may not be able to handle it. So that's why actually there are risks in the Shakti path of awakening Kundalini. So actually pranayam is part of Hatha Yoga, actually pranayam. So there are some techniques in pranayam that helps in this process of Kundalini, but again there are limitations until and unless the teacher is high and the student also is high spiritually. Then with pranayam and doing such type of will be beneficial. But most of the time it is better. See, chanting God's name or practicing spirituality, automatically Kundalini will get awakened. There is some comment also from Sunidas. You said, I have visualizations problem. I try to chant, but without my knowledge, I will be visualizing words like it is watching non-stop movies. Sometimes chant will be happening other sides and visual will be coming. So Sunidas, just to say, see, ultimately when some try to practice spirituality, see, our mind is full, no? Full of thoughts, full of impressions. So sometimes when we try to meditate or chant, at that time we get different thoughts coming to our mind. It can be, for some, it can be pictures, for some it can be thoughts. It can be quite disturbing also, and it takes the person astray and it becomes difficult to concentrate. So that time what you can do, you can just pray to God, because ultimately, see, negative energy also can interfere there and many times give visuals or disturbing visual to the person, and the person actually find difficult after to go back for concentrations, or due to that also get unstable. So that time the person can pray for protections, and at that time you can listen. What can helps is to listen to the divine chant aloud. That means to play the divine chant by voice, because when you hear and try to focus, it will be easier. If just by trying to close eyes and concentrate, that can happen that we may get disturbed. Of course, if we have this problem, from Yogamaya Dasi, you said, I live in a yoga center and ashram, and I did physical yoga a couple of times, and I felt no benefit. But I felt immediate benefit from mantra yoga or chanting God's name. See, Yogamaya Dasi actually, because physical yoga is at the level of the body, and actually as we share, mantras, repeating a mantra or chanting God's name is more subtle level and at mind level. And the most heavy is not our body, is our mind. And this is what we want. We need to purify the most. It's not the body, but our mind. Like say, we are taking shower every day, no? But spiritual shower of the mind we don't do. So it's like our mind is dirty. We have not taken shower for more than 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. It is full of thoughts, full of impressions, full of emotions. So that's why when we start applying subtle remedy like chanting God's name, automatically we start experiencing more lightness, because our mind will become purified and will become lighter and lighter. So of course after that it becomes easier to achieve concentrations. From Yogamaya Dasi, you said, I'm so thankful I didn't go ahead with Shakti path. When I was 18, a teacher was going to give me the mantra of initiations, but I decided not to do as I was scared of going crazy, and I saw some strange videos. This is what happened, Yogamaya Dasi, actually, if some people can go crazy, because what happens actually, because there is so much energy was released at one point that the person can go mad. This is one of the danger of Shakti paths. From Tom Rock, you said, so listening to a chant while exerting increase positivity. Yes, it is correct, Tom Rock, because see, if we have to do some exercise, no, it is important. We have to take care of the body. So if you chant at that time, you get double because you are also get more benefit. So usually what happens, we do exercise of the body, but we have to do exercise of the mind. And both can go always. Exercise of the mind can go anywhere, anytime. That is the beauty, we can say, of chanting, that it can be done anywhere, anytime. Shavran, like you said, yoga helped to start spiritual practice, and it was so in my case. And you practice yoga regularly, nor healing myself intensely under a master a few years ago, which helped me to overcome. Just about Sharvan carefully, her comment is not full. Something is missing. So actually, I cannot take her comment because it is not fully clear the hand. It's a good step, Sharvan. Actually, yoga helps us to start spiritual practice. But actually, we have to try to go to the next step and next stage. I don't know what you try to say after, but I cannot see your the end of your comment. We are a little bit of movement in the caravan, so the camera drift a little bit away. You said, Kartik, how can sick and unhealthy people do yoga? See here, Kartik is a person who is very sick, no? They can't move. See, if the person can have some level of motricity, then okay, they can do some small exercise. They may not be able to do yoga, but they can do some physical exercise such as stretching. So that is something they can do. Some people may not be able to move at all. At the time they can chant only. They can chant in mind. Okay. Okay, dear seeker. So if you have any question or anything otherwise, in case we will end for today's topic. So I wish you to, of course, practice spirituality, whether you are doing yoga or yoga asanas or pranayama is the same. Continue, but just understand that trying chanting God's name, because ultimately we want to overcome our emotions. No, we want to overcome our anger. We want to overcome our anxiety, our stress. So sometimes we go to yoga to overcome stress, but it will be away for some time. It will come back. If we face again a stressful situation, stress will come back. But if we work on what triggers stress within us, fear, worry, anxiety, if we are able to conquer them, then no situation is stressful at all. We will be always relaxed, always happy. So that's why if we try to go to the root, overcome what really is affecting us, and if we try to look, everyone can do that exercise. Try to contemplate deeper inside and see what disturbs me, what makes me unstable. But sometimes we don't know how I can overcome this, how I can tackle it. But actually there is a way, there is always a way. Because very often they come in always the same things. Anger, anxiety, emotionalism, fear, stress. This is what actually gives us instability, unhappiness. So this practice of overcoming defect of personality. It's one way. It's actually what we call yoga of the mind. It is His Holiness Dr. Attaveli, the founder and the source of inspiration of SSRF and the University of Spirituality, who makes this process. And by practicingly, we can very fast overcome different negative traits within us. And not only we will become stable, calm, but we will start experiencing happiness, and the outlook to what we see around us will become completely different. See, when our mind become purified, calm, happy, we will see everything from the positive outlook, a positive standpoint. But when we are negative, whatever we do, we will always see it with a negative trait or negative tendency. And yoga cannot help us much. They can reduce stress to some extent. But PDR process, personality defect removal, it's a sure and lasting that it will give us permanent happiness or permanent bliss. So dear seeker, I invite you to always contact our seekers on our live chat. You can meet our seekers, also speak to them, to come to the platform of online meeting where you can always share your experience, learn from seekers also, because quite often we feel I'm alone in my spiritual journey or my spiritual practice. So that's why we have created this platform, so that you are not alone in your spiritual journey and can get helps also how to go to the next step in your spiritual practice. So dear seeker, just wanted to share also that we have also some other event tomorrow, that is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have also the collective meditation, so you are welcome. You can welcome to our collective meditations. And next week, that will be on 30 June, our series of question answer will be just question answers. That means you can ask any questions, doubts that you have about spiritual practice or spirituality. And as well, if you want to become a guest, that means if you want to join and speak, because here now you can ask your question on chat, but you can't speak. But actually we have an open Zoom that will be live stream, a platform that you can join and speak also to us directly by voice, or you can also always ask your question by chat also. That is on 13 June. If you are interested, we will share a form, so if you like to join or ask your questions. So dear seeker, wishing you a blissful day, and maybe hope to see you tomorrow in our future live stream. Namaskar to all of you.